Okay, so this is going to be the birthday cake method where I show you all the different things you can do and how to do it. So we're going to start off with putting our prime numbers, which we always called our frosting, down at the bottom. And do you remember how we did our frosting, our prime numbers? 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. And of course, your prime numbers go on to 13, 17, 19, and 23, and etc. But most of the time when we do this, we start off with our 2, 3, 5, 7, 11. And if we need to go higher, then, we can. So we're going to work with 12 and 18. When I have 12 and 18, sometimes I need to simplify it, or when we did this originally, we were talking about greatest common factor and the least common multiple. Maybe we're adding fractions and we have 12 and 18 as our denominator. So let's just look at some ways of how we can break it down. So what we do is we start off with our first layer, 12 and 18. I'm going to start off with my first layer, and we're going to use our division symbol. And our division symbol just represents really dividing, and then we play around with saying that it's a cake layer. So which one of our prime numbers can go into both 12 and 18? Let's start off with the 2. That's easy enough. 2. 2 divided by 12 gave me a 6, and 2 can go into 18 9 times. Excellent. Now we're going to look at 6 and 9. Are they simplified? Nope, we could go one more time. So what number? 2, 3, 5, 3. 3 can go into both 6 and 9. 3 can go into 6 with 2 left over. 2 times, and 3 can go into 9 3 times. Now what we're left here is with 2/3. So when we actually look at our 12 and 18, it's going to be simplified into 2/3. So when Ms. Vallejo says, okay, make sure it's in simplest form, don't forget about the cake method, or I might say it's a piece of cake. This is what I'm referring to, is going from 18 to 2/3. 2/3 being my simplest form. I also want to remind you that our greatest common factor is the greatest cake flavoring, talking about the icing on the outside of my cake. We are going to multiply these numbers, of course, so 3 times 2 is 6. The greatest common factor of these numbers is 6. The least common multiple are the little cake man and ma'am. That's how we find the least common multiple between both 12 and 18. So we look at the 2, the 3, the 6, which is our greatest common factor as well. And we're going to multiply all these numbers as well. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. That's going to give me 36 as my least common multiple. So if I look at a clean board and I start with my 12 over 18, okay, I know that with my cake I can simplify it to 2/3. I also know that if I am adding and I have 5/12 plus 5/18, that by my least common multiple we found it to be 36. So when I take it and I redraw, then I know my 36 has to be my least common denominator. And I can make 36 as my denominator when I go to add. And I go, how does 12 get to 36? Times 3, of course. So 3 times 5 is 15. How does 18 get to 36? Well, that's times 2. And what I do to the bottom, got to do to the top. So 5 times 2 is 10. Now I can add them just like so and get my 25 over 36. And of course that is not simplified. So when Ms. Vallejo says I'm going to have to cake it or Simplifying is as easy as a piece of cake. I know I can come over here and simplify. So 25 over 35 can be simplified as 5/7.